I wish it were that easy for some women. Again, I'm using just someone coming into a 6 week challenge because it's not. But for you, you have a goal, which is, getting first place, right? For some people, such as, just a person that isn't athletic, that doesn't have any sort of things that may drive them, it might be something else. And I'm just speaking to the people that are listening. It might be you're doing this for your kids. You're doing this to, just to live a longevity, whatever it is. It might not be from a competitive standpoint, but damn it, there's got to be something at a higher level that is your why. Because at the end of the day, Dawn, what I want to talk about when it comes to these people is that when they come in, they're super excited, right? They're ready to go. Oh my God, this is amazing. Where do I sign? Halfway through, it's not the same person that was ecstatic on day one. What is your recommendation? What is your advice? How did you do it? What was the trigger point for you? Give them something to feed off of to drive them to continue to move forward, because it's very frustrating to see people give up, give excuses, and just essentially don't accomplish what they set out for.
Yeah. So I do understand that because I had tried so many different things. I had done MMA fighting, I had done boxing, I had done CrossFit, I had done Orange Theory, I had done Zumba, I had done the P90X, and I did Insanity, and I did all these like the 21 day fix, and I did all these different things. And it was the same thing. Like the first week, I'm like, yes, let's go. I want to do it. And then I'm like, but what's the point? Why? I would rather just sit here. And there came a point in time where, like, when I was first starting up again, that I had to remind myself of my why. And my why for me was that at the end of my life, I want to be able to see what my body could do.
Mm,
I wanted to know that I had lived my life knowing what I looked like in peak condition,
hmm
that I wanted to see if I could push past my limits and what that would look like to give it my all. But that wasn't always my why. A lot of times my why was because I wanted to get revenge for a guy, or like a lot more my why was because I wanted to be hot for summer,
Yeah.
or my why was because, my mom told me I was getting fat. Like, it just my why always changed. But I will say, like, no matter what your why is, the one phrase that has never changed for me is, what happens when you quit. Now, what happens if you don't?
hmm I like that.
Don't you want to see how you can keep going?
Yeah.
Don't you want to see the result? Don't you want to exhaust all of your options first before you throw in the towel?
Yeah.
Why would you stop?
Right. I feel like it's already hard for him now. It's going to be hard regardless if you start and continue or stop. Because
Yes.
let's be honest. I like how you said you did your last Friday Fitness Fact was on linear, talking about like how it's not like an uphill success. It
Oh,
looks
yeah, it's all over the
like
place.
this. Yeah. So I think they need to understand that, because most people come in and think it's going to just be an uphill battle and that's it. And that's not how it works.
And I will say, even now, too, like I was telling, like the ladies will stop me at the end of class and like, like, how's prep going? And like even this prep with like being in a new division, because I was bikini for the longest time. And for bikini, it was always for me, like I had to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So my weight had to keep going down and down and down and down. So like my first ever prep in 2019, I stepped on stage at I think like 118 pounds. And then my next prep, I stepped on stage at 112. And then my third prep, I stepped on stage at 108.
Oh, wow.
Now, like up until and like it was always a battle at the end to get like under 110 pounds. Now it's a battle now to get under 120 pounds. And that messes with the person because for me, like I was like, wait a second, my weight is not what it was.
Yeah.
And does that mean that I look like shit now? And like even being as lean as I am now, or as like shredded as I look now, according to a lot of people, like it's still hard to wrap my head around being stage ready with the weight not matching where I was last time and having the judges still tell me I wasn't lean enough.
hmm
So like that's still something that I battle with. But here's the other one too, is that it's like, was your plan to try and get as skinny as possible? Or was your plan to try and get healthy? Or was your plan to try and like lose weight? Or was your plan to try and like get leaner? Because leaner doesn't always associate with weight loss.
Right. That's true.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, like, I clearly gained weight from last prep, but I'm leaner than I was last prep. I look better than I did last prep, and my weight is heavier.
Yeah.
So my goal of getting leaner did not correlate with my goal of losing weight, which is why when people are like, oh, well, I didn't lose any weight, I'm like,
Listen, sister, you know what's funny? I don't even think you know this. Brittany and I weigh damn near identical, but our body types are not identical. Like it's just that we just carry our weight differently.
yeah,
Like she's very much so like thick thighs, like thick ass, like in perfect condition. Don't get me
she's
wrong.
she's also built like a wellness competitor. Like she's
Yeah,
got
for sure.
like she got the small waist, she's got the developed upper body, but then she's got
Yeah.
the thick legs.
Yeah.
Whereas you're more of like a figure competitor where you can just build mass muscle and just be like
Percent.
this brick shit house.
Yeah. But the whole
Come
the
in and
whole
like
point,
pose.
yeah, of sharing that is that you never judge a book by its cover because you would think that like, oh my God, I'm much smaller than she is, but it's like, no, we're the same identical weight, literally.
Mhm.
Crazy. So it's not crazy to me, but for people that are listening in, like, oh my God, I would have never guessed. So I
But it's
hate when
like when
people
people come in and do their in-body scans
Mhm.
and they're like, "Ah, well, my weight went up, so I'm not happy." And I'm like, okay, okay, but hey, did you notice that your muscle mass went up and also your
Exactly. Yeah, you could
metabolism went up and
still
also you're
lose
like,
fat and gain mass without like there's someone recently that I mean it's huge. She put on like 3 pounds of muscle and lost like 2% body fat, but her weight
yeah,
didn't change. Zero weight loss. Zero.
and that's amazing. Like
Yeah,
that's amazing. And it's
100%.
and that it's like in that situation, you want to like really shake people because it's like, again, being lean and weight loss don't always match. Like you can put on muscle to get leaner and
Yeah,
then have your weight go up. Like
100%. Yeah.
if you looked at me at 150 pounds at the start of this prep and looked at me at 150 pounds when I was an alcoholic, they don't look like the same person.
But it's lack of education, number one. Like, let's be honest, I don't think you knew what you know now is what you did not know back then, right? So I think it's us having to educate our women and understanding like we sound like it's so redundant. It's not always the number on the scale, right? But they don't understand. They just don't understand. So let's talk about this. So we've talked about weight loss, we've talked about mindset. I would like to talk about, I mean, is there a specific thing that you would like to hit that you think that more people need to hear? Because I have so many thoughts going through my head right now, but I want to kind of
So my big thing is that, and like this is what makes me, this is why I'm a good coach. And it's because I understand like everybody's different paths in life.
Mhm,
I understand when people are overcoming an eating disorder. I understand when it's people's first time in a gym.
mhm,
I understand when someone doesn't get it.
mhm,
And I understand when somebody does get it and that they just had a hard go or whatever it is. And
mhm,
I'm also really good at being able to judge the kind of feedback that somebody needs. So there are some people that you need to talk to them gently
mhm,
and you need to make small changes. Otherwise, they'll get overwhelmed and may resort back to another eating disorder. Or, someone's just working on their like positive headspace and you're trying to always make a positive spin on things.
mhm,
But then there comes a point in time where when you're so understanding to somebody that they start to take advantage of you
mhm.
or not even take advantage, but like they just become like the excuse monster. And that's when I want to tell them to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I no, 100%.
Like
Let
you came to me.
yeah,
You came to me and you told me that you wanted to lose weight, that you wanted to reach your goals, that you had this nutrition plan, and you're not going to follow it,
yeah.
which is fine. Like that's fine. If you don't want to follow it and this isn't a priority for you anymore, come back to me when this is a priority for you. But
I'm
when you told me that you're going to make this a priority and you're not going to do it, when are you going to wake the fuck up?
yeah. I'm glad
What
that you
is it
said
gonna be
that.
for you? Is it gonna be your heart attack? Is it gonna be when you go to try and have kids, but you can't because you're under such metabolic stress that you can't even conceive? Is
Yeah.
it gonna be when you finally give birth, but because you were overweight before and now you're severely overweight now and you realize that you have a baby to take care of? and now you're sleep deprived, what is it going to be? What is the fucking wake up call for you?
Yeah. For me, when you said I'm understanding, because here's the difference between you and I'm understanding, but I am now, don't get me wrong, I'm not empathetic to a certain extent. I'm on the same boat as you. Like, I hear you, I understand your situation. I will empathize with you a little bit, but don't take that advantage of that and use it to you see what I'm saying? Like you said, it's
No,
like, okay,
100%.
yeah,
Because
okay,
like when I see that people late cancel, of course, my first initial thought is I'm like, you're like my first initial thought is a negative one. But then like when they come back and I'm all then I backtrack and I'm like, okay, you know what, maybe something happened
yeah,
or maybe something's going on. And that's why like I do sympathize. Like if you're severely sick, by all means, I get it. Take the break. Like
right,
listen to your body.
right,
And that's also what we preach at Lady Strong is
yeah,
recovery is so important and you can't always just keep running yourself into the ground. So you're right. Like you do need a day for an Epsom salt bath. You do need a day to take a walk or to foam roll and recover or sit on the couch because progress is also not linear. Like you might have days where you do need to sit on the couch, then you might have days where you need to kick some ass. Like I get that. Or it's like I do understand when someone relapses and they're like, oh, like I ate whatever I wanted this weekend. It's like, okay, but we're not starting from scratch. You know, we still know what to do next. And
yeah,
that's just hop right back on track and
right.
then get back on track. Or when someone's like, hey, I'm going on vacation. I'm like, you know what? Yes, go eat. Like, sure, surround things around protein, but have a good time. Like, you've been training so hard for so long, your body needs that break. So, like,
Right.
there are times, but what I'm talking about here is a specific, like, won't stop complaining. And when you even give them the workout plan or you've worked with them on nutrition, where like, and I'm not even just saying, like, here, I made you this meal plan. Like, no, I mean, like, I looked at all of your food. I gave you some macros. I then backtracked on macros. I decided to just give you some different like food lists and options. And I gave you a meal plan. And then from there, I then checked in with you 3 times a week. And then you're still not doing it because you just don't like how it's having a negative effect on you. Oh, what's going to have more of a negative effect? The fact that you've put on 50 pounds in 2 years?
Yeah,
And you're just going to keep this trend going? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like the people who are consistently finding excuses and they hired you just to listen to them complain.
yeah,
And that's where I get really, really frustrated because I was there. Like I was there and I had my wake up call. I had my coming to Jesus moment. And for me, it's really knowing, it's wondering like, what is their coming to Jesus moment? Like you clearly realize that you had to buy all brand new clothes because you gained so much weight that you don't fit into anything anymore. But then again, like you're also telling me that like you're the heaviest you've ever been and you hate the way you look in the mirror and you don't take pictures anymore because you hate how heavy you are. Like, then what is it going to be? What is gonna like you clearly want to do something about it and you clearly hired me to tell me about it. And I will say this too, like I have told people like if it's not a priority, it doesn't have to be.
hmm,
Like if you are overweight and you've gained all this weight, but like you're happy and you're going on adventures and life, it means more to you than the scale and all of that, then by all means, continue on what you're doing. If it's because it doesn't have to be a priority. But when it is a priority and you're just gonna make excuses after I'm putting in this time to try and help you, I'm fucking pissed.
yeah. I,
Because like
here's my thought process. I have two things. Number one, I like to ask the question if I was the one sitting down, let's say doing a consultation, when they're like, oh, I need to think about it and this and that. I'm like, first off, you came here for a reason. You didn't come here just to collect information. You clearly needed something. You have a problem. We have a solution. What is there to think about? Number one.
but
Number two,
sorry.
no, that's okay. Number two is I need you to think about this. What's going to happen? And how is it going to feel or what's going to happen when you don't do anything? You leave here, you don't sign up, what's going to continue to happen? The consequences or repercussions is probably going to get worse, right?
Yeah.
That's number
Mhm.
two. You mentioned something that excuse me, tweaks my mind is
I'm
I
swearing
really
like a sailor over here,
no, it's
Marcia.
okay. It's recovery. I want to talk because you mentioned recovery a little bit. Now I'm going to share a scenario and then we can hop back. I don't know if you wanted to add onto something that I said, but I really want to touch on recovery because that me as an athlete pisses me off when I see women working out 5, sometimes 6 days a week, and I see them and they're like, my shoulder hurts. For instance, Mary Seno. I don't think I'm not throwing her under the bus, and I'm pretty sure I would have her permission to say this, but I had coached her in a class 2 weekends ago and she was saying her shoulder hurts. And I'm like, okay, what have you done about it? Well, nothing, literally zero, zilch. And
Mm,
it just frustrates me because
I gotta comment
Mary,
on that.
no, that's right. Mary's the type of person, she'll show up, she'll show out, but it's like you're not putting that same effort into maintaining your body. So what's going to end up, what do you think is going to happen? For someone such as myself, if you were to come to my home, I have heavily invested well over, and I'm by any means, I'm not even going to put a number on it, but it's a hefty investment when it comes to my recovery process. And it's because I take that just as serious as I do my workouts, because I know that's going to give me my optimal performance. That's going to help me recover
Mhm.
how I need to. And I just wish people understood that. Go ahead. I want you to add to that. What is your thought process behind that?
So like when women are saying like, oh, I need to think about the price, I've been there. And I get that too. Because like even what I'm spending on my coach right now, it's a lot of money. But for me, it's like this is my priority. Like bodybuilding was my priority. My health is my priority. And
Yeah.
sure, I could spend all that money on traveling. And there might be a point in time where this is something that isn't my main priority, but like I'll put my money elsewhere,
Right.
and I'll just go to the gym and take care of myself. And that's what I would essentially like the people who are saying that is because they're not sure if they're ready to make this their priority. But then it's like the same thing like that, the side effects as well. It's like, well, if you don't do this, what's the next step health wise,
Right.
and how much is that going to cost? So
Exactly.
like, for me, it was especially at 25, I was starting to think about like my health insurance really isn't that great. And I don't know what's going to keep happening to me. So would I rather invest in like all of these medical procedures that I would be down the road potentially having? Or am I going to invest in the prevention rather than the treatment? So that's like the spin that I would see for a lot of these women is that you're investing in prevention. You're not investing in treatment. Let's stop the problem before it happens.
Yeah.
And I think that when you spin it that way, it starts to kind of flip a switch. The other side of it, though, is that when it comes to recovery, like that truly was the culture. Like the culture throughout like all of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and even the early 2000s was calories in versus calories out.
Yeah.
If you want to get smaller, you need to work out harder and eat less. And
Yeah.
that was it. And so we were always told as women that it's just work out more, work out more, work out more. And now you have people that have all these, I hate to say it, hormonal imbalances, or I would rather say it, I should say it like this, their biofeedback is very skewed.
Mhm.
And listening to the signs and symptoms of your body, it's because you're overtraining. And that it's now the switch mindset of you need recovery
Mhm.
to reduce inflammation,
Mhm.
to allow your body to recover.
Mhm.
And that's what's going to be to help with maintaining and building muscle mass.
Yeah.
Because weight training is catabolic, it
Yeah.
breaks down. And sleep and recovery is anabolic, which means it builds up.
Yep.
And if you are not recovering, it's going to be harder for you to build that muscle. And that for the people who have been ingrained in that diet culture of calories in versus calories out, who are working out 7 days a week, that's a really hard thing to wrap your head around. Because
100%.
they think that a day that's going to be like a day off is a day lost from it. But it's like, even now, like leading up to my show, my coach has Thursday and Friday as potentially rest days because my body needs those 2 days to reduce inflammation. And I'm going to drop weight, not working out because my body needs to recover and get rid of that lactic acid as an energy product. So it's like I might get steps in, but that'll be it. It's mostly going to be kicking my feet up and just relaxing.
Yeah.
So that's like I don't fault anybody for these things that you mentioned on one, two, and three because these it does come down to priority and the health industry is expensive, but medical care is also
Listen,
expensive and it's
sister,
more expensive
nowadays
in this industry. And
everybody's carrying around $1,000 plus more iPhone or Android. So the fact that you say you don't have any money, I'm calling BS on that because when you pick up your phone and I ask for your number and I see what type of phone you have, lets me know you have some means to paying for that phone, which means why
okay,
would
but at the same time, Marcia, I did afterpay. Afterpay. Okay.
Okay.
My couch,
I'm
Afterpay. Okay.
dead. I am so
I
dead.
can do all things through Christ who gave
Oh, I love
Afterpay.
that. I love that. Okay, that's
Like,
fair. We
let's
unfortunately
give that one a break right now.
LSF does not have Afterpay,
It
but
doesn't.
wouldn't that be nice though? But
Even
at the
with my coach, I asked her, I was like, can I break up my payments like bi-monthly? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. So I
and
pay
we
my
do the
kids every
same.
2 weeks.
And we do
Yeah.
the same. That's why we have like the weekly or biweekly or monthly payments. We have options, right? So there
Yeah.
shouldn't be any reason or excuse as to why you're unable to make it work outside of Afterpay.
Yes. I think the only thing in my apartment that I didn't pay for with Afterpay was my dog.
I love it. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, now that you mention that, so we got Ella about like was it 7 years ago? And we actually afterpay Ella. We did. And that was like
Hey,
we were like we
that's
wanted
amazing.
her so bad and we were not, we weren't in the position where we could just fork over thousands of dollars for this dog, but we wanted her. So we afterpaid her.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So no, I understand. I get it. But I guess overall, if anyone that's tuning in today, I hope they're getting some sort of value out of this. And I think our mission, and it's something that I'm in my office right now, and it's instilled like our mission outside of being the premier based fitness studio, it's enhancing the quality of life. At the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. That's our mission.
And I know that I came in like super aggressive today. And like knowing me, like truly my foundation of like why I'm a trainer and why I'm a teacher is because I truly believe like fitness is for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves to be able to be the healthiest versions of themselves. Everybody deserves to be able to see the best version of them.
Mhm.
And truly, like anybody, everyone can do it. And that's the beauty of LSF is that this was a gym that I wish I had because there is the coaching and the one-on-one and there is the macros and the education and the accountability. Like I didn't have any of that.
Mhm.
None of that. And that's why I sought to have all the information that I do because I didn't have LSF to do that.
Yeah.
And even with like the people who come with excuses, like again, I don't want to come across as like the pit bull here where I'm like biting and yapping and running my mouth about it, but it's like it truly like I don't want to come across like not sympathetic because I am, but it truly comes down to what is your priority and what do you truly want? And if you are truly want this, then you're gonna have to fight. And
Mhm.
it's not gonna be easy, but your want to change has to be greater than your want to stay the same.
Hmm. I agree. I honestly, I want to end on that. And let's end on a good note there. I think this is something that a lot of people need to hear. So, ladies that are tuning in today, thank you so much. Please feel free to comment below, share this episode if you got some sort of value out of it. And Dawn, I'm super appreciative for having you on here today. So, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule because God knows, like with the amount of work that you have, and then with your upcoming show this weekend. By the way,
Yeah,
when this episode airs, you would have already had your comp. So I'm sure we're all eager to see what you end up. It's going to be. I have it in my heart and soul that number one spot. So
I
uh,
want to win the overall. I want to win the
I
whole
love
thing.
it. I love it. So with that being said, ladies, thank you so much for tuning in another episode of Lady Strong Fitcast. Have a blessed day, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care, guys. Bye.
So the big question is this: how were two women who didn't cheat and purchase a gym franchise model, how were they able to spread their mission and purpose by empowering and transforming hundreds of women's lives through fitness, nutrition, mindset, and accountability with a micro gym business model of women only? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. We are LadyStrong Fitness.